Hey everyone, please take a look at the disclosure. It is 11:51 on Monday, November 4th. I'm doing a little midday video for everyone to I guess, back up my morning call video, which is just for Red All Access. So let's get right to it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Scott Ruther, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's midday video. Typically every single day I do a morning call video that goes out around 8 o'clock, and I do a recap with my note and about 20 charts for other All Access. But a few days a week I do a midday video just to update where things are at and just try and say hello to everyone and give some thoughts and some strategies and some tactics and updates. So anyway, today we came in, the futures were up 14 handles, giving nice follow through. What do I mean by nice follow through? Well, last week the market held where it had to and had some power on Friday where most traders were probably long. So when you close strong, usually what traders like is upside follow through. Now with an oscillator plus 40 and us a little extended, probably a good day to trim some longs. Not saying there are easy shorts out there, but trim some longs. So this way, if you happen to pull back, you could buy a dip and manage your positions and your portfolio approach. Portfolio approach, oh my goodness, what does that mean? Well, portfolio approach is one way to engage the market, and tactical is another. Typically, I like to be in portfolio approach when we're above the 8-day moving average. Every single weekend, I think my editor-in-chief sends out a video on how to use moving averages, how it can make you money. Well, this has been a phenomenal 3-week active sequence that have made a lot of traders a lot of money if you put on a portfolio approach. And we didn't just put it on to put it on. There were reasons why. So let's get to it. Here's a chart of the S&P cash. If you look here, right here, okay, this gap means something. This gap that didn't get filled meant there was power. Not only did we clear a descending trend line or channel here, or you can or a system of lower highs, you had a gap that did not get filled. So right here, gap held, get in portfolio approach. What's portfolio approach? Usually you're in 4 to 7 or 15 names, depending on your risk tolerance, that you hold that are acting well, that are showing relative strength, that are usually leaders in the market, that you can then use a tier system and add and take off based on where they are with the open and where they are with the chart pattern. So anyway, right here was that spot. That meant something. It's not just shaded there for my health. It's shaded there because it shows you that this was an inflection point. Yeah, listen, did we come off the lows and could you have been perfect and bought the red dog reversal when it went below 28.74 and reclaimed it? Yes, but that still was rebuilding a pattern here that didn't give you resolution or show conviction until you had the gap up that held. And then look at this little blue line. You see this little blue line? That's the 8-day moving average. I always talk about the 8-day moving average, and everyone's like, why do you use it? I'm like, because that's the momentum trend. I trade for a living. I like to trade things that are fast and moving fast. I don't need to, sit in things that are correcting more than they should, or in a market that's lethargic. When you're above the 8-day moving average, it's typically a very strong market. That's why also I stay in portfolio approach. And then you could use this to buy a dip and trade against, which it held each time. Like, remember this red dog reversal right here at 29.95 right here. This little ugly candle might have got some people out of longs. Why? Because it opened up above a prior high and then closed below a prior low. An outside day should have probably got some guys with to put on less risk. But then this day could have said, hey, you know what? Didn't equal anything. Usually a day to take notice or an outside day, which that wasn't even potent. Just, the days thereafter are the most important ones. So anyway, here it held and that started another active sequence. And then, look where we went as high as, wow, how high did we get today? We got as high as 3,085. So 3,085, wow. That is your new point of reference for the week. Okay, at this point though, look where the 8-day moving average is. The 8-day moving average is all the way down here. Okay, this was your add. Okay, you're buying a dip versus a prior breakout level. You're accumulating in here. You add on that solid Goldilocks jobs report, and then today you take some off. That was pretty much my thought process there. So for me, with the SPYs, that's what I did. I've been long the SPYs pretty much since here. Okay, I held through this little chaotic 2 bottom tails into the 8-day on that print, because I knew how to act. I was planned on Friday when I saw the jobs print. I actually tweeted, say that looks like Goldilocks, it should hold. This was your ad. And then I took home the SPYs and I was selling it to some strength. You sell into some strength, so this way you could buy a dip and look where the 8-day is all the way down here. I actually it's 11:56. I still have 5 or 6 longs on, so I actually flipped. I went from long this morning, and I've been long from here to I faded a little bit of the spiders, so that means I'm short a little bit, but I'm very net long, just in case we get some kind of pullback while I'm away from my desk for the next few hours, because I'm going to be on Fox Business at 5 after 3. Doesn't mean I think this is the top of the market. It means that, hey, from this low to this high, maybe we fill this gap and come down to 306. Okay, it's very hard to keep gaps open. I told you before about gaps. Some gaps get filled, some don't. Some mean something, some don't mean anything. Right here, I would probably think within the next session or so, this gap gets filled. This one didn't get filled. Okay, and I don't know if this gap will ever get filled until like months down the road, maybe. But this one, to me, probably gets filled just because, we're just a little bit too far extended. So anyway, I am short a little SPYs. I put them on after about 10 minutes ago, just because, again, if we pull back, I'm holding some longs, and I want to make sure that I could fund those a little bit and being extra cute. And I know if it goes higher from here, I could trade around it. I was long into the open, which was nice. What are the Qs doing? Qs, a little bit of a, it looks like a topping tail there. Here's 198. This is what I posted in the morning to Red Laurel Access. Tech helped lead the way as it held 195. That's holding 195, and had Power Friday into new highs led by Apple. That was right here. And basically, I trim into strength. I didn't say buy it, buy it, buy it, be a momentum chaser, because we don't chase momentum. We do like to buy high and sell higher, but we don't chase it. We do it with a plan, not add, so you can manage a trade. So if you sold into here, it pulls in a little bit, maybe, you're able to buy it back and then let it work off this little overbought condition. IWM also is very interesting. I don't think it's the end of the world that that it's stalling here. I wouldn't say stalling. I would just say it's little resistance into the high end of this year-long channel. Hopefully you rode some of this during this move. You could even ride an 8-day or 21-day moving average, even if it's not a leader like this was. This is when it took back this lower pivot, and then it just trended above these moving averages all the way to here. And now I would think with the market a tiny bit overbought, let the market come in, maybe the small caps come in less and show some relative strength up here, and then you get another trade, which really the measured move is all the way up to there, if you resolve this higher, but we shall see. For now, today was your day to trim, not to add. Same thing here, stair stepping higher, somewhere long versus 153, that was the stop. In here, it never got filled, but it does seem like we'll power through this in time, and that's in time. Bank of America has been my swing trade long. It's been fantastic. I even sent this to the public Twitter sphere, I believe, somewhere around here, saying I think that this gets to 33 plus, which is that prior high as JP Morgan led the way. So we were buying it in here. I trimmed a little bit into the 32s, which I do let everybody know in the VTFCs alive. So by selling some strength, I was able to buy the dip. And I sold some today, and I'm still in it. So I'm going to be able to hold this, and hopefully, again, we see 33 plus. But this is not like I'm not over trading this. I'm in Bank of America because I'm in a portfolio approach, and all my other names are such crazy, fast-moving names. I need a name that I could actually feel comfortable with and know it very well. And I know Bank of America very well, all the way from back when I was pounding the pavement on Bloomberg at $8. With actually Dominic Chu, who now is at CNBC, was at Bloomberg then. But anyway, you can Google that. It's a cool little video. So anyway, that's that. Now this has a gap here, and it's at highs, and it looks really good. JP Morgan, what are you doing? JP Morgan seems like it's a little ahead of itself. This was your buyable pullback, and now here, same thing. I trimmed some into strength and manage it as it hit a high of 127.89. Anyway, look at this. Oh my goodness, above the 8-day moving average this entire time. That's a strong trend. Above the 21-day, and that's even for a bank that's super duper strong. So anyway, that's that. Looks like it'll probably retrace a little bit, but doesn't mean it's an easy short. Maybe you could short versus the high of the day if that's what you want to do. As far as Apple, so on Thursday I did this fantastic video. I thought it was fantastic. No, I'm kidding. Thursday morning, because everyone, some people call me the Apple guy, some people call me, Apple dog, whatever they want to call me. I trade Apple a lot, especially when it's in play, when it's above the 8-day, when it's moving well, because It's a nice stock with a lot of liquidity. And again, if it does work out, it works out in a way that is very conducive to a technical style. And it couldn't have been better than what happened. If you think about what did Red Dog say on Thursday in that video, because like 9,000 people watched it, which I would have hoped more, but 9,000 is still cool. He said if it could hold above Wednesday's high, which was 245, or versus a 5, 15, 30-minute high, you could be long it. And then if it gets above 249 and a quarter, you could add to it, and then it gets to 250 plus. Anyway, that's what happened. And then I was longing into today, and I actually went flat Apple today. Yes, I am flat. From 248 to 258, I figured, hey, you know what, I could be a little cute and try and buy a dip, and I will wait. But anyway, this was your Apple move. Fantastic. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This worked tremendously. Okay, so anyway, you know, this, by the way, this tail did not happen. This was 245, so I didn't come out of my tushy for that one. I figured if it could stay above this as a void up to here, this day was great. It was, you know, weekday in the market, and it showed relative strength, so I took it long. And then on Friday, you could have added to it. Then you could have taken it home and trim it to strength. And now, you know, it's a little extended, so it's not my focal point. This has been my focal point many times this year. When was it a focal point? Remember, on this day was a focal point. I remember on this day was a focal point. Now, on this reversal was a focal point. This was a Red Dog reversal 2.0. Wow. Anyway, now, you know, you could stay in some just to, you know, keep a real eye on it, or you could say, hey, I'm going to let the moving averages come in and it needs some time. The low of the day right now is 255.38, so that is your new point of reference for now. 255.38. 255.38. I am not long Apple this second. I have some bids below. If we come in, if we don't come in, I'll wait. Let it go sideways a little bit. Look like what a quinky dink. It kind of held right around the prior day's high. You could actually take this out of the way now because this means more. This is today's low, and you know, at this point, it needs to take some time to reset up again, and I call it rebuild. I am still looking closely at. I still have Microsoft on, not because it. What's the word? It did lag a little bit, but to me, it's been resetting up. So I do like this Microsoft. I don't love the fact that it's been relatively weaker intraday a few different times, but to me, this still looks good. We bought it on this day, versed the low, added on this day, sold some on that big contract news, the Jedi Cloud news, and then I've been a buyer on a dip. Today was the first day I sold some strength and added back. Where is it now? 144.62. It's going to have to get above and stay above these two different pivots, 145 and 145.67. It's still better to buy a dip in Microsoft than adding on strength, because for some reason it's really hard to find a time when Microsoft just goes and doesn't stop. So we'll see what happens here. So far, so good. I'm still long it. It's probably one of my bigger positions right now. I did buy Tesla again. Tesla, I actually tweeted to the public Twitter sphere saying, you know, it's been consolidating for like 4 or 5 days. I'm watching it very close. It was a fantastic option trade for us. It was a great day trade for us. And now I've been waiting for it to reset up. Where is it now? It's looking pretty good. Some guys bought it as it retested 309. Others, when it cleared this first spot, I did buy it. That was my first buy, right? Actually, when it went green, like right 315. And where did it get to as high as 321, and it's at 318.79. So to me, I'm feeling like, you know, I'm going to stay involved. My stop right now, like a lot of guys like Red Dog, you know, what would your stop be? You know, because you're still in it, you're going to lunch. Aren't you scared that you're holding position through lunch at the gym or at Fox Business? I'm like, no. If this is going to stay strong and be a special name for the day, it was a special during this process, and now it's consolidating, it would have to hold a spot for me. So that spot for me, I think I put it in at 314.50. Okay, so you go to the 1 day, which is right here. Okay, so to me, I figured this was that spot. It really, if you want to be very, very tight, which I won't be at the desk, I would think some guys might use this as a stop. Okay, for me, you know, I'm a little, I guess I have a little bit more threshold for pain. I said it shouldn't get back below this. So, and I even gave it more room. I gave it to like 314 and change because there's a lot of time between now and then. and I also traded it a few times. I made some good money along the way, so I figured, give myself a little bit more room on the stop, which is 314 and change. Amazon, what are you doing? Oh, all right, Amazon's hanging in pretty well for the day. So this too, I'm in from last week. Nice gap up, holding in there. Hard to buy strength in Amazon, but to me, as long as it stays above, this 1798, 1797, I'm going to stay in it. Some guys were long from last week versus 1760. I got it in the last week, and what you could do is this. It's right now. Where is it? It's at 1810. The 1820s are like $10. So if you're like, I don't, like the way this fluctuates, and I want to be a little protected, you could be long the stock, sell the 1820s for $10. And if for some reason it just goes this week and goes above 1830, they'll take your stock, and you just made 30 points this week and 10 if you were in from last week. So that's 40 points, and you're getting paid to sit. So this way, if if Amazon doesn't do anything and comes back to 1800, and and just is choppy, which it's been choppy for a while, you then get to keep the $10. Okay, especially on Friday if it closes below 1820, and then you stay with the stock, and then maybe next week it gets better. But for now, it's acting pretty well. I didn't do that, but I've thought about it a few times. Facebook, as I said here, buy it versus a 190 or see if it could hold 194. Now it's a bit of a topping talent to resistance, so it needs time. I'm not in Facebook. I tried it once or twice today. Twitter. I'm still in it from last week's bottom tail. Let's see if it could hold in here and get a little bit better. Some guys have a stop at 29.41. Some guys have a stop here. Roku has numbers later this week. I'm not in it. It broke this 143, which probably got some people out, which makes sense. Look at the size of this move. So sometimes you don't want a stock to be at all-time highs heading into the print, because then it's got to be friggin' fantastic to go. So if it pulls in a little bit, it might be better. So anyway, it pulled in, broke 143. You have a gap here to see if it gets near or wants to come. This is 130. What is this? This low here is 136.40. Oh, the moving average I think is here, 134. So at this point, there's a lot of time between now and Wednesday, so I'm not over trading. Everyone's asking me, "Oh, Red Dog, are you in it yet? You in it yet?" I'm not in it yet. It was a great trade here for me. It was a great trade when I took this out there intraday, and now maybe it comes in here, and if you have a thesis on it, we'll buy some options when it's weaker, so the premiums are lower, so you could buy it on the bid. So then this way, if it does perk up, you could then have a funded option position. But I'm not saying I'm doing that yet. But for now, broke this area, so if you happen to have been sitting in it, which it's tough to sit in something a few days before earnings, especially when it's Roku, that was your out. And now we'll revisit it maybe tomorrow or maybe Wednesday before the close. With all that said, it's 10 after 12. Market's been very methodical. There's been so much to do. Hopefully you've made some good money in October, and you start in the last 3 days. Hopefully you caught that Apple trade, or if you're an investor in Apple, congratulations, and you made a lot more than I made. It doesn't, if you've been in it for 20 years. For me, I like to trade it, I like to swing trade it, I like to day trade it, all those things, depending on what's happening with Apple. And Apple's been above the 8-day moving average for quite some time. So many different ways to play it. I remember playing it here for that move. Then all of a sudden this was a choppy mess. I remember on this day I actually screwed it up, the Red Dog reversal, but then right here is when got back involved with some size. Nice little inside day that held the 8-day, was able to add here, sold there. Then again right in here, nice little inside day, held the 8-day, could add there, and then I think somewhere in here we got out of it. And then the real trade was this little 3-day trade after earnings, even trading it after hours. But anyway, that said, probably needs to go sideways a little bit. Shouldn't be an over focus now, and we'll see if other things could set up. But as far as the indices, let's go back to the SPYs one more time. This low now is what? 307.25. So that's your point of reference for the rest of the day. Does it fill that gap? Maybe. If it's going to fill the gap, what does it have to do? Get below and stay below 307.25. Do I think this gap holds this week? To be honest, I don't really think so. So that's why I sold my SPYs into it. And, doesn't Doesn't mean it's an easy short. Doesn't mean it's the high of 2018. I mean, what are we? I'm sorry, 2019. But from here to here, I do think that they try and fill that, whether it's tomorrow or today, later, or Wednesday. So not that compelling, but doesn't mean you could just blindly short it either. So that said, this is Monday. What is it? It's 11/4, November 4th, 12:10. Hopefully you enjoyed my little midday video. If you really are without ideas and you feel lost, you really have to look into Red Laurel Access. I do a morning call video every day that goes out 8:30 pre-open. So this way, if there's volatility with the futures and you could buy quality names with great, patterns and ways to create cash flow, you're getting it before the market opens with my note that also has 30 names on it with 14 to 20 charts that have an active plan. So all that happens to you well before the open, so you could help my game plan become yours or align it up. Then I do a recap to talk about what happened, why it happened, or why something didn't happen, or what didn't work or what worked. And then we kind of take a quick look ahead to the next day, and then we do it again. So this midday video is something I only do a few days a week when I do have time, and today I had some, so I hope you enjoyed it for either educational purposes or maybe some money-making purposes moving forward. Have a good afternoon, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.